Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with the qualifying round win here for the Game Set Match tournament in Golf Clash the Game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and make sure that you do hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament guides for Master or for Pro and Expert by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link directly in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type we suggest you to play with. Have in mind that the suggestions are just that. It's suggestions. You don't have to follow what we do suggest, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 1, and we're gonna start with 2 bars of backspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right. And here it's important because we're looking at 2 things. Top of the blue ring by the rough line, you can see there clearly, and then we're gonna have to zoom in quickly to see that the ball guideline, the tip of it, is in the center of the dark green square. That is super duper important to find the correct initial aim. Then we're looking to see what type of wind angle we're gonna have, and you know, obviously there is adjustment to do based on that, but hard to go through everything here in the playthrough. Adjustment though, minimum distance with a 20% over adjustment, power 5 ball settings. So it's very close to 1-to-1, but not, you know, exactly 1-to-1 in all types of wind. Then center the ball, hit perfect, and I do believe that this is going to be a very good chance to start off with an hole-in-one here in Master qualifying round. This is a shot that, like a similar shot to what we have played before with other wind angles, and often works really well once you find the adjustment. But now, with the guide with the wind angle tweak and tweaks based on wind strength, we definitely have a real killer start here with a shot on hole 1. On hole number 2, we are going to play a no movement, which is gonna make our life very easy in my opinion. 7 bars of top spin, 1 bar of side spin to the left is what we're going to use. Once that is done, we are going to go and focus on our adjustment. Maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment, power 5 ball settings is what we are using. My goal here is to have a wind range, like a wind that is going to be somewhere between 11.5 and 13 miles per hour. So if you do have a very low wind with a luminary ball, I would recommend to play with a rose ball or with a sterling ball or something like that. Once we have made our adjustment, we shall not push up to max at all. We shall in this case go full blast overpower and do that with a slow needle. No curl either, and in the end though, what's gonna happen here is that we're either going to roll through the rough and be either on green or behind the green, or we're gonna have double bounces into the rough. That's gonna be dead bounces, but we're still gonna get through the rough. So that's why we're not working with different type of topspin here, because we judge based on all the testing that we have done that the minor difference in wind angle that we're getting here will still make us go through the rough if we have more crosswind, and we will still get the ball to stop before the rough at the back with more tailwind. That's at least what our testing has shown us. One thing to add as well though, based on the push up, if you play with an Apocalypse level 5, we do recommend to push up, and we're gonna take a look what we're gonna push up here actually to give you the correct number. We're gonna push up 4 yards after the adjustment. So if you have pulled your rings down to plus 20 for an example with Apocalypse 5, then you push up to plus 24, and if you would pull back to plus 21, you push up to plus 25, etc. In the end though, this is a must-see goal. If you miss this one, you should be sad. Alright, hole number 3. This is gonna be a fun one. We're gonna blast it, and we only live once, right? The thing with this hole is that this should be considered as a lottery hole. Sure, we can try to dial it in as much as we can, but when we're playing a power slice that we're gonna do here with a lot of wind and with wind angles in play, it's gonna be impossible to dial this shot into 100%. So before we take a look at the videos, I want you to have in mind that regardless of how bad we play the drive, we will still reach for the green for the second shot, as we will be having a very good tailwind on the second shot. But in the best case scenario, we're gonna be on green, and you're gonna see 2 shots here, one with a palm ball and one with a face-off ball. And I'm gonna talk you through my ideas and the way we are gonna set up this shot. First, we're not gonna go the second shot, we're gonna go on the drive. So, the setup here for Apocalypse 7 and 8, half of the blue ring inside the rough to the right. That's based on 19 miles per hour. So what we're gonna do, let's say if we do have a 17 miles per hour, because that could happen, then we're gonna turn so the screen is straight up, meaning that the ball guideline is straight up, and then we're gonna move to the right, in that case, 2 rings. So we're not gonna move in line with the wind angle, we're gonna move just to the right based on having the ball guideline straight up. No adjustment in this case though, as we already had the position. We're gonna go 2 balls of curl to the right, max topspin, and 1.5 topspin boost, and 1.5 bar side spin to the left. And then we're gonna go with a power slice. And if we're lucky in that case, then we're gonna bounce over that and into the rough and roll out, or just be on green somewhere, you know. And this is obviously a super duper simple wedge for an albatross. But let's say that we don't have any palm balls, because palm is power 4 and it has wind 0 and topspin boost a lot. Topspin boost 3 if I'm not mistaken. Then we do have the spirit, which could be an option for you to play. But again, I would go palm ball all day and every day before a spirit ball, because the power 4 will help us get that extra little distance. But let's say we have the spirit. Let's take a look at this. Now, we do have an 18 miles per hour. And as we have an 18 miles per hour, we're going to, in this case, have that as a base reference, which is the left side of the white ring by the rough line to the left. 1.5 bar left spin, and then the same type of spin. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to go with a little bit less curl. So basically 1.5 ball to the right in curl. And we're gonna play a power slice. And you can see here now it bounces nicely on the fairway, but as we don't have the same amount of power, we will not reach the same amount of yardage. So we need to be a little bit more lucky with the spirit ball compared to, in that case, with the palm ball. For those of you that just want to say YOLO, then pull all the topspin boosts if you want to. You can do that, but I've been trying to, with various type of setups, with a different type of spins, trying to, in this case, find a spin that maximize our chances to be on the green area. If we would end up where we did with the spirit ball, for an example, then we're gonna play a short iron or we're gonna play a wedge. I would recommend to start with a wedge, start with a short iron and do that. And we're gonna add that here to the list here. So we're gonna add this, we're gonna go that, and we're gonna do, in that case, or we're gonna do actually this instead. So I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna remove that. I'm gonna medium distance, and then we're gonna apply 15% over adjustment. There we do have that. And then we're gonna take a look at the shot. And again, this is a Falcon. You can play this one with Thor and Hornet, do whatever you like. Again, look where minimum distance is. In this scenario, I pushed up 15 rings from minimum distance, and I played it 7% slider, 15% elevation, no spin in this scenario either. And I do believe that this is a scenario that will happen more times with a spirit shot than what it would be doing with a palm ball. But also, if you do play with Apocalypse 5 or 6, for an example, that might be a more general outcome even with the palm ball. But again, you know, like, it's somewhat of a lottery here. A lot of things can happen, and you could obviously be in the rough, you can be in the sand, you can also be with a wedge. We do advise to play the wedge 40% elevation through distance if you're gonna play the wedge, and that is without a spin applied. So in the end though, a lot of things here in hole number 3, but nonetheless it's going to be a good chance, and you will see a lot of players going to have an albatross on their scorecard here in the qualifying round. Hole number 4, we are going to start in complete max distance, white ring just inside the rough to the left, and that's gonna be the same position when it comes to Apocalypse 5, 6, 7, and 8, and we're gonna explain why once we have taken this shot. Max top spin, 1 right spin, adjust max plus 10, push up to complete max. Full curl to the right, max overpower, try to hit perfect. A great left and a great right will be fine, at least it has been with Apocalypse 7 and 8. Can't really tell for Apocalypse 5 and 6 as it has a pretty bad accuracy. Now we do get the ball down the fairway, and two things can happen. Either we get the rollout like we're getting there, we get to around 445. If we don't get that rollout, we're getting to somewhere around 435 instead. And that's going to be two types of reference that we're going to work with. And we're going to look for that one if we do have a short drive, because that was the thing that happened to me the most. 2.8 backspin, 3 bars of side spin to the right. We're going to have the ball guideline into the hole, not short of hole, not through the hole, into the hole, very important. And from here we look at what plus yardage do we have. We have +5. So for Falcon level 8, +5 is in this case going to be played, oh, we can take a look, it's gonna be 96% slider, 10% elevation, power 4 ball numbers. Very important to have in mind. If you play with Falcon level 7, you add 4% to the slider table. Thorn level 9 plays the same as a Falcon level 8 in terms of a slider, and Hornet level 9 plays the same as Falcon 7 as a slider. And you know, a lot of numbers to keep track on obviously, but this, in my opinion, if you make the drive correct, again the drive is somewhat everything, then you have a really good chance here on hole number 4 as well. Hole number 4 to just end up with Apocalypse level 5 users, and also to somewhat stretch Apocalypse level 6 if you want to. You can use the Freedom Ball, which is a new ball in Golf Clash, one of the possibly the newest one we do have, I think. And the reason I want us to use the Freedom Ball is because it's a power 5, and with Apocalypse level 5 and not really having the top spin as Apoc 6, 7, and 8, then that would be really good to have that extra couple of yards on our drive, and also for the second shot to make sure that we're not going in between clubs. If not, then I would still take the gamble using a Win 4 power 4 ball. For hole number 5, we have a very good opportunity for an albatross in my opinion, but it's all about the drive. So we start in complete max distance, the white ring completely inside the rough to the left with Apoc 7 and Apoc 8. For Apoc 5 and Apoc 6, we go with 1/3 of the 4th ring inside the rough to the left. Make sure to have no 1159, favor 1201 if anything. I'm using, in this case, 6 bars of topspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right. Half a ball of curl with max overpower with a slower needle. Try to hit perfect, and then you will see the ball bounce on the fairway, over the rough and sand water, and bounce into the rough and roll out. If you do miss the rough with the first bounce, the most likely scenario is that the ball will go just into the rough and falls back down onto the fairway, and that is something that you will have to just expect to happen. So that happened to me many of the times that I play this hole, and I play this hole loads. And what I also recognize when I play this one is, like, depending on where I end up after my drive, I'm gonna be sometimes in no man's land, like no reference at all to use plus yardage. So I decided in the end, as we're playing somewhat a linear way to this hole, I'm gonna play base by yardage. So what I'm gonna do here is that we're gonna play minus a 30% elevation, and I'm going to, in this scenario, use the yardage that I did have. So just to give you a reference, I'm going to use the yardage of 390%, sorry, 390 yards, to then equal 55% slider. And as we're playing such a massive uphill adjustment here, we are going to separate 3% per yard instead of the 2.5 that we normally do with Sniper. Ball guideline should be just short of pin. We're using, in this case, 3 bars of side spin to the right with 2.5 bar of backspin. And we're playing with the B52. Perfect ball, and this is going to be a very good chance for us to get a drop, and which happened several times on the practice mode here, which again makes me consider this one to be that if you make the drive correct, this is an absolute money shot to work with. So you're gonna be most likely somewhere between 380 and 395 yards, but hope for 385 to 395, because there is where I'm 100% in drops. On hole number 6, we're going to start with a Marlin. It doesn't show here in the replay, but a Marlin is the best ball to start with. Find complete max distance with the yellow ring to the right by the rough line, and then we're going to add spin. 1 bar side spin to the right, 4.8 bars of backspin. Very important then, once again, start with a Marlin to find the correct spin and adjustment at the same time to save yourself time, in my opinion. Max plus 20, power 1 ball settings. We're looking to have a straight pull, no pull angle. We're only looking to do, you know, tweaks based on wind angle, and that's going to be used based on, you know, curl. We're going to use a little left curl if the wind is pointing northeast more. If the wind is pointing more northwest or more straight tailwind based on the initial wind angle that we're having, we're adding a tiny bit of right curl instead. And that is the way that I'm going to tweak this hole and how we're going to work with this one. If we do get the wind angle in the video, I do believe based on the drops that we have had so far, that is going to be money. Tough one on hole number 6, not going to be a 100%er, but you know, the closer we can get to that, the better it's going to be. On hole number 7, this is a money shot in my opinion, and we're gonna start in complete max distance with a power 2 ball, and we're gonna look for the white ring to be just by right ring to the left to be just by the edge of the rough line. 3 bars of topspin, 3 bars of side spin to the right, and once again it can't be much easier, and that's how we work here. We are looking for easy replicatable adjustments. Swinglish.com. Max plus 20, power 1 ball settings is what I'm looking for here, and then we're gonna add a curl. Right side of the ball, outside adjustment ring to the right here. Make sure that you're not getting any accidental overpower or underpower, which is the difficult part by using curl, but the curl is unfortunately needed. Bounce on the fairway, and we take the slope. We like how it looks, and we definitely love this wind angle, because those of you that has played this shot on Tour 12 when it was there knows that when it does like that, we know it's most likely gonna be a hole-in-one. NASCAR, as it's called, is definitely one of the better chances to get a hole-in-one here, and I do feel that once again this shot is brilliant. For hole number 8, you will see 2 options here. One where we play with just a regular power 5 ball, and one where we're gonna play with a topspin boost ball. I would recommend the topspin boost ball, but we'll start with the regular power 5 ball. Max topspin is what we're using in here. I would strongly advise you to not play this shot if you not have at least Apocalypse level 6+. Add all the topspin you can. Second bounce should be just before the sand trap with the second bounce. Then you adjust max plus 20. Here it is very important that you take note of how many rings you do adjust into overpower. Let's say that you adjust 3 rings into overpower. Then you shall use 3 rings of overpower. So you're not going to add or subtract any rings from that. And that's, you know, again, the reason why we're aiming so far up with the second bounce is to make sure that we not have to add an extra ring of overpower or something like that. Once the ball coming over here, we do have a very simple shot towards the pin. For those of you that are familiar with the EB School, we recommend to play 20% elevation, EB School version, and with max topspin applied on the shot. But let's take a look at the face of ball, which could be, you know, I'm gonna talk about the topspin boost ball, but I like that shot a lot, and much easier as well in my opinion. The face-off ball is definitely recommended with even Apocalypse level 5, so I hope you have a couple of those. If you don't have the face-off ball, then at least the Virtuoso ball will be helping out loads. So what I'm doing here now, regardless of what Apocalypse you have, max topspin with the topspin boost, have the second bounce to be just before the sand trap, aiming a little bit right of pin, as you will notice there on the ball guideline as well. Adjustment here is maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment, power 5 ball numbers, not power 3. So max plus 20, power 5 ball numbers. Then it's very important to once again to take note on how much you adjust into overpower. In this scenario, it was extremely little. That's because I have a very low wind as well. But it could be with a high wind, could be up to 2-3 rings. But regardless of that, we're still going to use that amount of rings as the overpower rings that we're using. And look at this beauty. You know, a little bit more right, and we could have got that one to drop. Obviously, that would be a very, very lucky outcome, which I hope, if anything, gonna happen in the weekend round if we do have a very good wind. But the face of ball definitely gives us a way to limit the amount of overpower needed, and also make sure that we can play this one with even lower level clubs, or clubs that do have less topspin than, for an example, Apocalypse level 6, 7 and 8. Obviously, playing with a Thor's Hammer and Extra Mile, I would apply the same type of idea of setting it up. Obviously, have in mind that you have less power on the Thor's Hammer and the Extra Mile than what you do have on the Apocalypse, but again, the same idea with looking for the second bounce, which is the key, and then apply the amount of overpower rings that you adjust into, and then I do believe you have no issues here to get that ball to the green area. Sure, a bad great left or a bad great right might put you in a bad spot, but if you just get out to the fairway, you should be having a very simple wedge to lock in the eagle as, again, as a rescue thing. For hole number 9, we are going to play a drive that I actually played successfully with a great left, great right, and perfect, because I play this hole so much. Because when I get a feeling for something, you know, when I'm not really getting the outcome for the second shot as I want to, I play it until I get it. That's the beauty of the practice mode, but also that's not the beauty for the ones that we live with, obviously. Max plus 20 is what we're using. Pay note of how much you go into overpower, because we're gonna add that amount plus 1.5 ring to overpower. So, for that matter, 1.5 ring into overpower, we play 3 rings of overpower. 6 top spin, 3 left spin. And I'm starting at the plus 19 yard mark with a red ring by the rough line with Apoc 7 and Apoc 8, Apoc 5 and 6. And do in that case start with 1/3 of the red ring inside the sand to the left. 0.8 ball of curl to the left as well is what we're looking for. Now, for the second shot, now it is important that you speed up here. So you do want to start by adding spin here, okay? So we're adding spin, and we're gonna start by adding, in this case, 3 bars of side spin to the right, and you notice I'm way far to the right there. So I'm gonna have 4 bars of backspin, 2.5 bar side spin to the right, and this is gonna be somewhat the spin that you're gonna use almost every single time, especially if you do hit a perfect ball. So in the end, I'm changing a little bit, so I'm using 3.9 backspin because I want to look for one particular ball guideline. This is the one. So 2 green square to the right of the pin, 1.5 green square past the pin is what we are looking for the tip of the ball guideline. Once that is done, we look at the plus yardage that we do have. We have plus 12, so we shall adjust 80% slider, minus 25% elevation, power 4 ball settings with a minor 12/1. A lot of things I know, and you don't have to follow all the steps, but I want to give you all the details for the shot here. Perfect ball, and this is what's gonna happen if you don't adjust 80% slider. So I'm basically missing off with 0.2 in adjustment here, and that's why we missed the left side of the cup. This is gonna be a bonus if we drop this one. I have yeah, you know, like, it's going to be a bonus, so we need to have that in mind. But is it a good chance? Yes, it is, especially with the adjustment here. If you don't have any Acer ball or any V12 ball or any other ball that have wind 4 side spin 3, then you can play with a wind 3 side spin 3 power 4, like a Kingmaker X type of stats or something like that. Obviously that would require more overpower on the drive, and obviously a bit more adjustment on the second shot as the wind is going to be higher. But you know, it's an alternative at least on hole number 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division, here for the qualifying round in the Game Set Match Tournament in Golf Clash the Game. If you do want to get the best guides for Master on the market by far, you go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy and test them out, and you will notice that it will definitely improve and help your game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck in your Golf Clash game.